1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in they Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters gon' move. Whatever click you choose, you better
say what's cracking, YouTube. It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. You're down. Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Yeah, that's me gassing right there on that intro. And if you want to get that song, hit me up on my email at 16thelifemusic@gmail.com, and I'm going to give you the information on how to get it. Now, let's get right into today's video, man. So,
Keefe, don't be mad at them if they tell on you. You told on everybody. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, big dog. You did that. Don't be mad.
So as I was scrolling YouTube last night, something very interesting in my opinion popped up into my feed, and it happened to be a video that Dubs had done on Keefe D. For those of you guys who don't know, Keefe D is being charged with taking the life of the rapper Tupac, I believe. And I say I believe because I have not kept up whatsoever with that trial or what's going on. I'll see little bits and pieces on people's YouTube videos, and I think from what I can remember, he had wrote some type of book saying that he was there in the car the night Tupac lost his life, and then later on, some type of way, I believe he believed he had immunity to say all these things, and then he ended up being charged with taking the life of Tupac, and that trial is going on right now. But what was very interesting to me is that in this thumbnail, Dubs has the word rat on the thumbnail, and I think that that's very, for an individual who has been in the street life, we all know that those are very, very critical, very harsh words to call somebody, right? And I do believe that if you would ask people who are in the street and quote unquote in good standings, they would believe that Keefe D is a rat, right? So that's not the odd thing, and what I find very amusing and odd is not only with Dubs, but you have a lot of individuals who were in the street life at some point in time, and for whatever reason, they fell out of good standings with whoever they associated with, and they are no longer in good standings, but it's like they have seemingly forgot. And now they are calling individuals out for things that they basically have done themselves. And in certain situations like this, it seems like they would just play the background and choose not to speak on topics like this, when the same type of accusations can also be made and leveled against themselves as well, right? But it just seems like in this YouTube space, in this social media space, people tend to forget that, right? And so to me, it's crazy. But anyway, I'm going to show you different little parts from that video that Dubs made in relation to Keefe D. Then I'll come back and I'll give you my opinion on some things. So let's get into it.
Keefe D, boy, he had a lot of dirty laundry. So we have this trial. We have this Tupac murder trial. I talked about it yesterday. Keefe D did this to himself, but he had a lot to say about Suge Knight, about the Mob Piru, about Death Row. He was still interacting on a daily basis with Southside Crips, with his connect. Keefe D sits in court and he stares at everybody like he's gonna kill him. I think Keefe D is looking at people with self-hate. Keefe, don't be mad at them if they tell on you. You told on everybody. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, big dog. He made himself an inmate. He ain't a convict. Not with at least since 1998, a convict would never be anything that could be connected to him.
I think it's very safe to say that at one point in time, Keefe D was respected in the streets, and now he's not, right? Due to a lot of the things that he said. And I believe that a lot of individuals would agree that he is a rat, right? But also, I think you have many individuals, and we just keep it in 100, right, who would agree that Dubs is a rat. Dubs has also fell out of good standings, right? And so while it's not only Dubs, I see a lot of individuals now on YouTube who at one point in time fell out of good standings with whatever collective they ran with, right? But now when certain individuals are brought up on charges or whatever, right, especially when individuals are in the YouTube spotlight, these same individuals who have went through the same circumstances themselves and are no longer in good standings will have an opinion. Like I said, Dubs went so far as to title this man a rat in his thumbnail when he possibly could have used something a little less harsh, like cooperated, so on and so forth, because calling an individual a rat in prison or when you're in the street life is an extremely harsh word. Right now, Dubs has also said in the past that he is a civilian and he has gave himself a lot of freedom to talk about whatever he wants to talk about. And I definitely feel that he has that right. You know, actually, he said something along the lines of, and I had included it in a video where he said that he's going to talk about blacks with everybody else, you know, with NBC, CBS, and all these other news outlets, which is a great point. When somebody from CBS, one of these news stations, they do a story on one of these gangs or prison organizations, I doubt very seriously if someone will call down there and give that person or that news station a hard time about doing the story and using whatever terms they chose to use, right? Because Dubs, once again, has said he is a civilian. But then I have also seen him hold other individuals to a prison standard, saying, hey, man, you're talking too much. You're revealing too much information. Or basically, he gets on other individuals because they are using terminology or words that he's not himself willing to use. So once again, in my opinion, that's where he gets extremely hypocritical, right? You give yourself the freedom to talk about whatever you feel like talking about because you say that you are a civilian. But then you hold other individuals to a prison standard and say, don't talk about this, don't talk about that, even though you talk about what you feel like talking about. I just think it's all extremely odd, right? I feel like he should pick one side of the road and stay on it. If you're going to be a civilian, then apply civilian rules to you and everybody else. Don't be a civilian and then apply prison ideology and things that people would do in prison to other individuals, because if he was in prison, you wouldn't have a public opinion about a black person. You may talk to some of your homies about it, but you wouldn't come to the yard and state that, hey, Keefe D is a rat. But publicly, by way of YouTube, you have pretty much made it public that Keefe D is a rat. So once again, I just think that's very hypocritical for an individual to want to apply prison ideology and prison rules when it's convenient, then at other times give himself the liberty to talk about whatever he wants to talk about. At some point in time, by way of his own actions, Dubs took steps and measures that he also would never be considered a convict again. For those who have not been to prison, at least here in California, it is a great distinction between a convict and an inmate. And without going deep into it right now, convicts look down on inmates. An inmate is a person that's just incarcerated. You know, a convict is an individual who upholds certain type of street ethics, street morals, so on and so forth. And in closing, it's extremely important to point out that, of course, this is not only Dubs. You have a lot of individuals who at one point in time subscribed to a street ideology where doing certain things was frowned upon. But when they found themselves in a predicament, a criminal predicament, and did whatever they felt was best to extricate themselves from that position that they was in and eventually gain their freedom, or at least put themselves in a better living space. When their life or their freedom was on the line, sticking to the code meant nothing to them. And I'm talking about some of these famous rappers or these street personalities, individuals like 21 Savage, Gucci Man, or whoever, we have seen that when they get caught up in a predicament, they do the opposite of what they have been talking about or rapping about or proclaiming for years and years and years, because they now find themselves in a situation where telling, ratting, cooperating is what they feel is best. And I'm going to just keep it 100. That's something that I don't understand. And something that I also don't understand, and I feel is even worse, is to, after you free yourself from that situation by going against the grain or going against what you felt was going against the grain at one point in time, to then later on down the line to publicly vilify an individual for doing things that are similar to what you've done, I think is crazy. But all those things that I mentioned and even more, I think makes a great case to just show everybody that this street stuff, this street life is dead. It would, because there's no way to figure out which person among the individuals that you hang out with is gonna keep it real. So it's best just to chill, man, and enjoy being free, because you never know who's gonna stick to the code and who's not. So anyway, man, y'all get in the comments and tell me what y'all think, man. Am I tripping, or is it cool for individuals who have once went against the grain in whatever type of way they have and fell out of good standings with whoever they hung with, prison organization, street gang, whatever? Is that hypocritical for them to call somebody else out for doing basically what they done at some point in time in their life as well? Anyway, man, y'all already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.